Welcome to Essential Dialogues. We've been hearing a lot about Ethiopia's economic landscape lately, and our listeners have sent us a ton of articles about this brand new property tax law.
Yeah,
So let's take a deep dive into exactly what it means, for the country, for its people, for the future. What do we
absolutely.
know so far?
Well, this new law that the Ethiopian parliament just passed, this property tax law,
Right.
it's really designed to completely reshape how the nation's finances work.
Wow.
It's a really big deal.
So, okay, help me unpack this a little bit.
Yeah.
What does it mean for the average person who lives in Ethiopia?
Right.
What are they going to see change?
So basically, anyone who owns property in an urban area is now going to be paying taxes on it.
Okay.
And the rate depends on a few different factors, but it's capped at 1% of the property's value.
1%.
So for every, let's say, 100,000 birr your property's worth, the maximum you'll pay is 1,000 birr per year.
Got it.
Just to give you an idea.
Okay, that makes sense. But why now? Why is Ethiopia implementing this tax right now?
That's a good question. I mean, the big picture is that Ethiopia is really aiming to boost its economy, fund all these development projects.
Yeah.
And they see this property tax as a key way to get that revenue.
So it's all about trying to, make things better.
Exactly. They want to improve infrastructure, expand public services, and really just push for progress.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, using this tax revenue to fund development and try to make things better for everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are some concerns too, right? It's not all, sunshine and roses.
Oh, for sure.
What are people saying?
There's definitely a lot of debate about whether this is going to be fair to homeowners,
Yeah.
particularly people with fixed incomes or limited financial resources.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Some experts are worried that people might actually be priced out of their homes
Oh, wow.
or even displaced because of this tax. So that's a big concern.
That is a valid concern for sure. What about safeguards? Is there anything in place to, protect people from being, overburdened by this?
That's a really important point, and it's something that's being discussed a lot right now.
Okay.
There are a lot of people calling for exemptions or reduced rates for low-income homeowners or pensioners. So that's one thing.
Okay.
And then there's also a huge focus on transparency,
Right.
making sure the tax revenue is actually used efficiently and that people can see it being used to make tangible improvements that actually benefit everyone.
Right.
So it comes down to implementation, really, making sure it's done fairly and effectively.
Right. Yeah, how it's actually put into practice.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was really interesting is that religious institutions are exempt from the tax. I was curious to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, that's definitely been a point of contention for sure.
Okay.
When the lawmakers were discussing the exemptions, they were specifically asked about religious institutions, why they weren't included, alongside things like federal and regional government institutions and nonprofits.
Yeah.
And it sparked this whole debate about whether they should also contribute. Some argue that they should, but then others say that, their social and spiritual contributions outweigh any potential tax revenue.
Yeah, I mean, there are valid points on both sides.
Exactly.
So it's a complex issue for sure. What's the bottom line here? What do you think is going to happen in Ethiopia because of this new property tax law?
Well, that's the million birr question, isn't it? I mean, we don't know for sure yet. The impact remains to be seen.
Yeah.
It could really be the engine for progress that the government's hoping for.
Right.
Providing funding for those essential services and all the development initiatives they have planned. But on the other hand, it could have some unintended consequences.
Right.
Maybe it'll make existing inequalities worse, put a bigger financial strain on homeowners.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Exactly. It's a bit of a wait-and-see situation.
It's a really crucial moment for Ethiopia. This new law has the potential to be a real game changer.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how it all unfolds.
I think so, too. And it might even spark, similar discussions in other countries that are trying to figure out how to finance the development, how to improve the lives of their citizens.
Yeah.
It's definitely a development worth keeping an eye on.
So is this the key to Ethiopia's economic future? Or is it going to create more problems than it solves?
Right.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But one thing is certain. It's definitely a story worth watching.
For sure.
And for all of you listening, we want to know what you think. Share your thoughts. Keep the conversation going by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the Essential Dialogues podcast.